My name is Doug Barr.
Listen, if it's over, but not this way.
Karen!
Well, I was one of the actors who played in The Unseen. It was, I think, 1981, if I'm not mistaken, quite a long time ago. It was one of the first pictures I had done. I did 2 horror pictures that year. It was between series that I was on. I had done a series called When the Whistle Blows at Universal, and then I went off and did these couple of movies, and then I went on to a show called Fall Guy after that ran a long time, and I ended up doing a lot of television. But during that 2-year period, I did this picture and I did a Wes Craven picture, and I had a lot of fun on both of them.
I think to let us go down the tubes like this without even talking is crazy. Now, I'm not saying we can work it out. We probably can't. Nobody can tell me we didn't have good times.
My role wasn't that big. It wasn't very integral to the plot. I was sort of the guy, as I remember, who was the boyfriend of and showed up to help or something at the end of the day. So it gave me an opportunity to see some of these other really fine actors do their thing.
The people you see behind me are some of the 2,000 residents of Solvang, direct descendants of a group of educators who founded this Danish community in 1911.
The only thing I can remember about the shoot was in a parade in Solvang. We were up there for a couple of days. I don't think there was probably enough money in the budget to actually make a parade happen, so it was probably a real parade in Solvang. And I remember meandering in and out of this with cameras following me. They seeing the people on the street wondering what was going on, and having quite a good time up there. Quite a lot of laughs. I do recall that I had a dinged leg somehow, and that the makeup guys or prop guys had just gone ahead and stuck some tape on my leg. Nobody thought you ought to maybe shave the hair off your leg before you do it. So the taking off of the tape was not a pleasant moment. I don't have any hair on my legs to this day as a result of that.
You know, it's funny, you look just like the woman who talked to me about getting married and having kids not so long ago. Or don't you remember?
Someday I do want all that, but not now.
Barbara Bach was charming and sweet and delightful, really sexy, and I wanted to hit on her and had no luck. That's about all I can remember beyond that.
You're not suggesting that I don't know what I'm doing now, are you?
Sidney Lassick was so lovely. He's a wonderful guy, and it was a delight to watch this man work. He just had a lot of internal energy, a lot of commitment to the part, and was so quirky and unique as a human being that you couldn't take your eyes off of him anyway. And then when you gave him a character role and let him go with it, he was such a fine actor that he really was just a delight to watch.
Oh, God!
Karen Lamb was managed by the same manager that I had in those days, an old friend of mine still, and I think that's how, more than likely, I ended up in that picture. I think she was cast first, and somehow I'm sure my manager called and said, "Hey, how about the guy? You should see this guy." And that's probably how I ended up in the picture. Stephen Furt, wonderful actor, wonderful guy, amazingly talented. Took a role like this, which was not an easy thing conceptually to get your arms around, and just made the most of it. He was really a terrific, is still a terrific guy. Yeah, she was very interestingly elegant, I think, in her personal manner, and gentle, and seemed like a very nice, very accomplished person. Anthony B. Younger. Tony Younger is not just a terrific guy, he's a wonderful producer, produced, besides The Unseen, some movies that we're seeing probably more than The Unseen, that we all know about, and he's just, classic, truly classic films that you can ask kids who are 18 and people who are 60 about, and they'll all say the same thing. Oh my God, Tony Younger produced that, fantastic. Deadly Blessing was the other horror movie of 1981 that I did. That one was a really interesting movie. It was a Wes Craven movie, who was a wonderful horror director, obviously. We shot that in Waxahachie, Texas, which was outside of Dallas. I think Sharon Stone was like the 5th lead in it, and she and I were friends from New York days. It was shot on the pig farm. Mr. and Mrs. Pig owned the farm. I was killed by a John Deere tractor in that early on in the picture. The tractor squished me, and my best acting moment in that was when they did an incredibly tight close-up of my eyeball as a drop of blood went dink, dink, and I couldn't move at all my eye, and I managed to make my eye dilate by changing my focus in there without any movement. And they had this ultra-tight close-up, and I thought, boy, that's the best probably bit of acting I'll ever do. And then, and I was supposed to be dead, so that tells you a lot about how good of an actor I was. And then the other thing I recall about that was that somehow the studio or whomever it was that was financing that didn't like the ending, so Wes called up and said, we're going to have you come back and we're going to do a little bit of additional footage, and you'll come back and be a ghost and say something to your wife like, you know, watch out for the incubus in the barn or whatever it is. And I said, Wes, how do you want me to do this? How does a ghost, how does a ghost be a ghost? What do you want me to do here? And he said, I don't have a clue, man. You figure it out. So I hearkened back to Marley's ghost in the Christmas Carol and kind of rattled my change and came in and gave my wife in the movie some advice. I switched over years ago from acting to writing, and then from writing to writing and directing, and the sort of niche that I'm in is television movies. I've directed 20 or more television movies, or written many of them, or rewritten many of them, and that's what I do. And then in addition to that, I have a little winery, so I'm in the wine business for fun, and in the television business as a way to pay the mortgage.